Welcome to Joggle episode 3. I am here at Paddington Recreational Ground.
But like I say, man, always said it. It's not about the destination.
Okay, so what's been occurring for the last 2 months? Training has upped the ante massively. I think I can actually say that I am a proper runner now. I'm running about 75 kilometers a week. I've been in Dubai training like an absolute mofo in the 40-degree heat, nearly died. And it's getting hard, really, really hard. But it's what I signed up for. So today we are here talking to my amazing nutritionist Justin and one of his clients who is going to become one of my good friends, little does he know, Jake, who is actually running Joggle as well next year.
Hi guys, I'm Juston Reid Simms. I'm a Nike running coach and performance nutritionist. I've been running for 7 or 8 years. I guess for me it started because I was working at a boxing gym and wanted to get fitter, wanted to get a bit lighter. Pretty soon I realised I didn't want to get punched in the face and I wasn't that bad at running. So signed up for a little half marathon and ran it terribly, went out. It was the first 10 miles at breakneck pace and then a slow and painful death for the last 3 miles. But I ran a 1:30 half and I kind of got the bug from there. People went, "You're not half bad at this." And on I went to run my first marathon out in Paris. From there it's been hooked. I run here every week, Thursday nights with Track Mafia, and I get to help people as a coach progress their running journey, start out on their running journey, and as a nutritionist take on crazy challenges like Georgie and Jake.
So I'm Jake Taplin and I'm also doing Joggle and I'm Justin's little project. So yeah, I found running through overcoming a bit of mental health trouble. I had a breakdown sort of late 2018 during uni, found running, signed up for Beachhead Marathon, forgot I had it, and then started training about 2 weeks before. After that, really liked the feeling of a marathon. So I felt to push it further, did an ultra, and then since then just loved running, and now I'm here doing Joggle like Georgie.
So Jake, how did you meet the divine Justin?
It was off the back of an Instagram stalk. I was looking just on Instagram, saw one of his posts, looked quite good. Saw he said run coach, and I was like, hang on a sec, in the market for one of them. Messaged him and within a few hours we were chatting, and then a few days later Zoom call and boom, ended up here.
The rest is history, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
What made you want to have a run coach? Was it?
Well, I felt Joggle is a pretty specific task, and I was just finding myself going out for a run and going out for a longer run, going out for a bike, no real structure.
Isn't that mad that that's a misconception, like, of all of us newbies? Because I did exactly the same thing. I went from like a 5k to a 6k to a 7k to finally like pushing longer, faster, harder, literally killing myself over.
That's just it, and I think Justin just added a bit of accountability, a bit of structure, someone to talk to about it.
What did you think, Justin, when old Jakey slid into those DMs?
I mean, I couldn't believe a project like that would be in the pipeline. It was a really weird time of year, like mid-lockdown, races were being cancelled everywhere. And I probably should have foresawn that people would have these kind of different ideas about what running could be and what they could take on as a challenge. But it kind of came out of the left field for me. And then, like, what an exciting project to get to work on. And you know, as Jake says, people don't necessarily think to go to a coach, particularly like Jake's got a sports science background. You feel like you know a lot,
Yeah.
But just like I work with a coach, when you try and coach yourself, sometimes you've just got an idiot for a client, and that's the reality of it. Is you need someone else to go, how about you do this today, and you do the sessions that you don't want to do, which I'm sure you're finding with Fletch, is
Yeah.
you do the work you don't want to do so that you can do the stuff that you really want to do, which is the bigger project.
Yeah.
And if you're just trying to structure it yourself, you're like, hey, I love this session. Out I go, I'm going to do it again. We talk about these long challenges as, you know, an eating challenge more than anything. How are you going to get on all those calories, and when are we going to recover, and what does it feel like to run when you've just run for 12, 13, 14 hours the day before? And obviously there are some things you can't replicate in training, but there are some things that you can really push yourself and challenge yourself to give yourself the confidence to go out there and try things. Things are always different on race day, and things are always different when you have an attempt at something. So you can do your best in training to replicate those things, but really it's a big game of boost your confidence and make you feel like you're the person that can do this, and you can fall back on that self-belief.
I mean, like, Jake, what was the background, like, what was the rationale for, like, even taking on something like Joggle? For me, like, mine was, like, aligning contribution with fitness. My mum's got a form of Parkinson's, so it's more the fact that we can move and to inspire others. Like, what's your story behind wanting to do something like this, and especially in record time as well? That's your story.
I think it just comes off the back of that feeling of when I did have that breakdown. I felt not alone, but I felt quite lost. Didn't have a goal to focus on.
Yeah.
And something like an ultra or something like Joggle, it just gives you that complete focus. I think you'll agree it's a bit of a life commitment.
Certainly
Every
is.
day. It doesn't matter if it's raining, if it's sunny, you don't get a choice in it, you have to go and do it. I think that really helped me with my recovery, and now it's just that day in, day out focus, wake up, that's what I've got to get done today, and it makes it a lot easier.
That's one of the things Fletch told me, actually. He was like, all you need is time. Yeah, it's certainly a vocation, that's for sure. That's what I'm learning anyway.
I think I also like the fact that we're racing a clock. I think when you're in like a running race with someone else, it's easy to look over and think, oh, they're going harder, or they're going faster, or they're training more. When you're racing the clock, it doesn't speed up, it doesn't slow down, it's just a constant. And I think that's a mindset you just got to take into it. I've just got to constantly keep working on this, and at some point it will come to an end. But you just got to remember that opponent doesn't stop. Grit my teeth and get going.
Keep plodding.
16 hours would be a nice goal, I think, target.
A nice goal, 16 hours time on feet, eh?
It's a lot of time on feet.
Does it not tempt you, Justin, at all? No?
I have run ultras, but for me, right now, my personal running passions lie more in running fast. So I've run a sub 3 hour marathon, I qualified for Boston and London, and then unfortunately I had a cyst in my fibula, so I had 250 days off of running, surgery, rehab.
Yeah.
Boston's a big deal for runners out there, so like it's kind of nice that you guys are outside of that marathon world, but people work really hard to qualify for that, and I had for a long time, and so not being able to do that was frustrating. I'd never run a London marathon, but I'd got good for age, I'd qualified for that. So for me, it's, although 2020's been a bit of a write-off in terms of actual racing, next week I'll run virtual London Marathon, and just, you know, it's just a 26-mile long run. It'll be a nice little training effort, and then hopefully next year I'll get back to running sub 3 hour marathons and qualifying for some races I want. But ultimately, I love the idea of being outside and being able to experience different environments. There's a great festival out in Wales, in the Gower Peninsula, called Love Trails Festival. I've been involved in it since its inception, and that's where I did an ultra a couple of years ago before I found out about that cyst on my leg, and we ran 30 miles on a really hot day out in the Gower Peninsula, and you just go, wow, like the UK is beautiful, being outside is incredible, and you get to experience something completely different to running around the track, to running on the road, to chasing after time. So I think there is something like transcendental about getting out into nature and doing it.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of grounding, isn't it? You get that a lot where you live.
Yeah, because I live in the middle of nowhere compared to you London lot.
Well, I'm kind of leafy suburbia. I'm not quite London. I'm leafy suburbia, but yeah, it's gorgeous. I see your runs.
South Downs Way, it's quite
lush,
a beautiful place, and I think that's what I like about the idea of Joggle. It's just going to be a really, really long run with some really pretty views to look at.
Exactly.
That's how you got to see it, I guess.
One of the things would I say struggled with, had to come to terms with, is the nutrition and the importance of nutrition with something such as joggle and endurance running. My background obviously being bodybuilding, competing, I've definitely come with a few like old sort of mindset, habits and thoughts and feels around my physique and the way it should look, and how I should feed myself and fuel myself. It did get marginally better when I went into functional fitness competing, because there's less of an attachment to like what you should look like. But coming on to like joggle and running, Justin, it's been amazing that we've been connected, because the importance of nutrition it's huge. It's huge for something like this, right?
Yeah, and I think initially people look at running and they say this is the aesthetic, it's lighter, it's faster, and with that comes the desire to kind of chronically underfuel. And a massive part of what I do, or what I try and do, is encourage people to fuel their performance and fuel their efforts, but also understand that food really has to nourish you. It's not just about calories, it's not just about performance, it's a morale booster. And I think this really applies to you guys doing this big effort, is the food has to make you want to go out the next day.
Yeah.
You have to enjoy your food. We can't, live on gels and live on supplements. We have to find something that's going to nourish your soul and go, this is it. This is what's going to make me want to get up, go out the next day and do this again and put myself through. It's going to be a monumental task. So there's a lot of factors going on. There's a lot of factors at play. It's important people see all kinds of bodies out there running and all kinds of people out there running, but it's also important that we spread that message that when you go out, you feel strong and you feel fueled and adequately prepared to go out and do the harder efforts or the longer efforts. And when you see people going out and saying, I didn't eat here, or I'm fasted here, it promotes the wrong kind of message. It doesn't matter what you look like or what you weigh. It's all about, for me, how you feel out there and how you feel the next day and the next day. And it's certainly something we've come up against, isn't it? When you're in Dubai, you trained really hard, and the fatigue, the cumulative fatigue really
I felt like
in.
Fried my insides. That's the only way I could describe it. I felt like...
Yeah, I think I said it's like my bones are tired.
Yeah.
It's a really kind of deep fatigue, and treading the line of I'm trying to manage my energy balance is a tough one, because Fletch changes your training, you do a double day, all of a sudden we need to replace that energy. But it can be tricky, and coming from your background, looking at what was a calorie track, you had a real cap on calories, didn't you, when we started out working?
So nope, that's all I'm having.
Over a week, and we said, okay, over a week, this is how many calories we're taking on, and slowly we've crept them up, and you've carried on performing, which is the big thing here. It's
performance over ascetics, right?
Absolutely.
I definitely still have my wobbles, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
There's a lot to trawl through out there, so trying to get a bit of clarity and trying to find something that you can hang your hat on as best as you can with any piece of science is tricky. And everybody is a nutritionist, or everybody has an opinion about it. And I think, unfortunately, it's great to share your experiences, but if you can't see everyone else's perspective, then you end up coming across a bit like a zealot, and there's a lot of that out there. So
different horses for different courses, everyone's different, right?
Exactly. and having that open mind about things, and that's been the great thing about, you know, working with you, is coming from a functional background. There could have been some real barriers there, but actually you've got a really open mind about it, and you're embracing it, and you're seeing the difference when you go out and run, and you're feeling different.
Yeah, for sure.
What we hold on to.
I mean, I love food, so, you know, it definitely encourages me.
If you love food, start an endurance sport, because
Literally, it's an eating.
eating's a full-time job.